Today we have Mickey Bozymowski with E.W. Smith. He is an agent over there and pretty much runs his own small business while working for them. So I've known Mickey. I've had the pleasure of knowing Mickey since I was probably 4 or 5 years old playing
Yeah,
t-ball with him. So went to high school together, graduated together. So I couldn't be more excited to have him on and help him grow his business. And he's also my agent as well. I don't mind throwing that out there. So I can speak to his customer service when I call. He answers, and he'd be a good guy to have in your corner. So Mickey, tell me a little bit about E.W. Smith and what you guys are to the insurance industry. I know the insurance industry, similar to the mortgage and real estate, is all pretty saturated. But what is E.W. Smith, and how do you help the people out there?
So I'm an independent agent at E.W. Smith Insurance Agency. So what we do is we have a handful of companies that we work with.
Mhm.
So when you call us for a quote, we're able to run the numbers through several different companies and look for the best fit for you as
Mhm.
far as coverage and price.
How many different insurance companies do you work with?
We have several companies that we work with because we offer home, auto, life, and business.
Okay.
So roughly a little 5 to 7 we use more so for personal
Mhm.
lines. We have much more for commercial lines, a couple things for life as well. So that's the best thing about it. Even during the time, you have options within the agency. If anything were ever to happen, you wanted to shop your own insurance, we're able to do it in-house with multiple companies and get you the best rate and the best coverage available.
So you're the Expedia for the insurance world.
It's a good way to put it. Yeah, it's a one-stop shop. We can take multiple looks for you and try to find you the best thing possible.
Gotcha. Cool. Tell me a little bit about E.W. Smith. How long they've been around? You guys been in the local community for, it looks like 1917, what I can see there.
Yeah, E.W. Smith opened up in 1917. So that's what, 100, coming up in 106 years we're celebrating. So, based out of Wyandotte, the entirety of it. We've been in the Fort Street location, I think since the 70s.
Oh, wow.
So we also have an office down in Flat Rock and one up in Shelby Township. And we service the entire state of Michigan. That's one common misconception. People are like, oh, I'm moving out of the area. I'm going up north.
Mm-hmm.
You can't insure us anymore.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not true. We can insure the entire state.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's obviously most of our clientele tend to be more local.
Yeah.
Because again, we're such a staple in the community for the last 106 years.
Yeah.
That people know our name a little bit. It seems like people are either been with us at some point,
right?
They know somebody who is or who has been. So
no, I think just me personally, I know you, I know Ryan over there, Pelon's over there for a little while. So I've just living here locally, somebody that works at E.W. Smith, Mary Rothermall, people that we grew up with.
And that's the thing, we're community members as well, and that's what I think sets us apart too. Is we're not just somebody in an office that you never know.
Right.
Usually you got a connection to somebody somehow, some way, because we all know how downriver and Michigan and everything works. Everybody knows everybody, related, whatever the case may be.
Right.
So,
and you guys are all involved too. I mean, I feel like every sporting event I go to, E.W. Smith is sponsoring, the local sports teams and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Speak to what you guys do in the community a little bit. Is that kind of like a individual thing, or is that just, the company taking it on themselves?
Both. So you have individual opportunities if you want to sponsor something. So like me sponsoring, say, the Wyandotte football team, I do a little banner there and things of that nature. But we do things as an agency as well. Nice. Like, for example, I haven't been in the gym in a while, but the old high school gym, it had E.W. Smith on the scoreboards, to sponsor the scoreboards and stuff like that. So, we've been at the street fair a few times, throughout the years, just to be faces at the street fair, just to say hi, talk to your agent, just say hi, because in the world we're living in now too, a lot of the stuff is either online or over the phone.
Right.
We're still open, and that's one thing that sets us apart too. I mean, you come in, we love the face-to-face interaction.
Right.
You have somebody to speak to. And that's the biggest thing I think about us is you have the ability to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're just community members too.
Yeah.
And we love being in the communities. We have scholarships, that we do for some local high schools around our agent buildings.
Mm-hmm.
And there's tons of sponsorship that we do. We like giving back to the community. We do No Shave November every year and donate some stuff to the Wyandotte Goodfellows. So
nice.
We love being involved in the community because it's our community too.
Right. Yeah.
So it's huge for us to be involved in the community. I'm Wyandotte, born and raised, and I catch my grief for never leaving Wyandotte, but it's a great place to be, and I love being here.
No, it's cool. It's two Wyandotte guys that grew up here, and we're both very much involved in the community. I don't live in Wyandotte anymore, but I'm down here every day. I went and grabbed some hot dogs from the place down the street today.
Yeah.
Have you tried that place?
No, I'm not.
It's
No.
good.
I just
Good.
saw it on
Give a
Facebook
shot.
though, so I might
The dogs
head
are
over
good,
there.
man. The dogs are really good. But yeah, it's been cool to grow up here, and when we go to a bar locally, we either run into each other, or we see somebody else we
Right.
know. So
Always know somebody.
but yeah, what drove you to insurance, man? I believe it or not, we were battling for the same job that you won over me.
Can you blame him?
I can't blame him.
You're more of a movie star now.
I was a little bit upset when it happened, and then I heard you got it, and then I was instantly just happy for you. So
that was tough.
What drew you to it? How did you get into the business?
Well, I always make the joke that I got a couple buddies who work at EW, and every time I was around them, that's all they talked about.
Right,
so
right.
just so I could be more involved in the conversation, I wanted to get a job there.
Uh-huh.
Just talking to those guys, that were there, some buddies, they kind of described it how it is, because I'm not really into sales per se. And then learning the aspect of how we do it over there. It's not a sales-oriented job; it's a customer service-based job.
Yep.
So you're helping your customers understand their coverage, get the best price, walking them through, getting stuff covered, and helping them through their worst times if they have a claim, something like that happens.
Right.
So it really isn't sales-based at all, because I've been in sales, never been a fan of it, never
Yeah.
wanted to do it again. So when I heard it was more customer-related and just having those relationships and helping people out, understand insurance, because insurance is not easy to understand.
not at
Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
So, and me personally, I like to have somebody I can speak to physically. I don't like an 800 number. I don't want to talk to a robot. And that's what they bring. So I love what they brought to the table. And when they showed me that, I was sold.
Yeah.
And the old joke, the joke around the office and everywhere is nobody thinks they're ever going to end up insurance. Nobody goes to school for insurance. So I don't think there's anybody there that went to school for that at the time, and then they end up for it, end up in it. And it's great. It's just great to have that relationship with all your customers. And even being local, you run into them at the restaurant, you run into them at the street fair, you run them into other stuff. So it's always cool, and it's great to be able to save people money.
Yeah,
because that's a big thing too. So, and then helping understand those coverages.
Yeah, and I can totally relate to that. I did do insurance for 3.5 years, more on the claim side, obviously, but I saw the bad of it in regards to how it affects people, but also saw the good in it and the agents that I work with, because I worked with EW Smith as a claims adjuster. We would talk to those folks and help them educate their clients or whatever it might be. And it's similar to what we do here with mortgages. Like, it is customer service, because a lot of people are like, a mortgage process, I do it every day, but they might do it once or twice every 10 years. So like, it is my job that they know where their money's going, and similar to you.
Absolutely.
Like, when you're insuring something, you want people to understand it, and it becomes an educational piece, which I don't think is sales at all. It's just, it's relationship building and building trust within that client or that person, and then making sure that they're taken care of, long term. So I've seen you guys do that, And what did you go to school for?
I graduated with an HR degree, human resources. And, I dabbled in a couple things after college, bounced around, did a few different things looking for that career. And, I thought I was finally on that path. And then this came up, and I was sold. I am coming up on my 7th year in April. My 7th year there already. Is crazy to think it's been that long already. And I love it. And, it's fun getting to go to work. And you're just helping people. You're trying to help people. You're trying to, again, insurance is not fun for anybody. It could be boring to some people and stuff like that. But you always it's just there to help people. It feels good when you saved me so much money, and wow, thank you so much for all your help. And that's what I pride myself on being. I want to be there to help you because I don't want to, like, even as simple as calling you back saying, hey, I didn't get your answer you needed right now, but I will call you tomorrow. I pride myself on that because I don't want to sit around like the delivery time window. Oh, we're going to deliver your new stove between 9 a.m. and 10 p.m. Like, you don't want to sit there all day waiting. So I think that rapport with your customers and just having them to be able to be held accountable, and they know you're in their corner and they're taking care of you. So that's...
Yeah, and you do that. I mean, you've done that with me. Like, if I've texted you, because sometimes I text you at 5 or 6 o'clock, because like that's when I think to maybe update my policy or do something. You're like, all right, we'll get it taken care of tomorrow, right? Like, just that communication piece is huge. Because like, I mean, I'll get calls at 8 o'clock at night. People are like, I don't expect you to do that, but like, I need to talk to you now, and you just got to understand that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It sounds like in your 20s you were like trying to figure out life, and I was very similar to that, being in the insurance business and like not really liking the whole claims. I liked it. I like the people I work with. I learned a lot of good things about insurance, which makes me more well-rounded today. But I always felt like I could, provide more value to people, and that's how I found my way to mortgages. So like, how did you figure out getting into that, and did it take like you getting into it to figure out that you want to stay there? Talk me through like your 20s, because I think that's like, for me, it was a huge part of my life where I was figuring it out, man. Like I didn't know where I wanted to go. I was trying a lot of different things. I bought a business for a short period of time. So like, walk me through your 20s and see if there's any similarities there.
Yeah. So even going back to college in Central, I went in as an accounting and finance double major. Loved numbers. Took Coach Flip's accounting class in high school, and it was more bookkeeping related, and I loved it. I loved the numbers. Got to college, was doing that 2.5 years, and it just wasn't right. I just couldn't see myself doing it for the next 40, 30 years, however long.
Right.
So, you're going through the buck. I'm already into my junior year, got all these credits for business school, and I knew I wanted to do something in business. And, I get a little more information in human resources, and I find out it's more of just daily interactions, a people person. And you know me, I'm a talker, I'm a people person. I love being around people. So, and then I start seeing more about this recruiting. I'm going to the job fairs at Central. I'm going to job fairs, and I'm like, it would be cool to be on the other end of that. So I really got into like the HR aspect, and I thought recruiting would be a great thing for me. So I ended up switching my major halfway through junior year, getting HR, graduated with an HR degree. Coming out of college, there's not a lot of recruiting gigs out there. So I jump at a chance at Quicken Loans. I know a lot of people that work there, great place, everything like that. So I did that for a little bit, decided that wasn't for me. Mortgage banking, I don't know who would do that, So I had to get out of that. So I got out of that.
Quicken Loans, I can totally understand.
So I bounced around, did a couple other things. I was even in some logistics at some point, found my way back into HR. I was working at like a local plant, which was nice. And then the whole E.W. Smith thing came up, and it was more customer oriented than I could imagine. And you're constantly just making relationships and talking to people all day. So I'm like, well, I can put my skills to use of talking.
Right.
The
gift and gab.
Yeah, exactly. The gift and gab. So I fell into that, or, worked my way into that, and it's been great, and I loved it. So, but like you said, though, like, all those different opportunities I had before EW, I feel like makes you more well-rounded.
Yeah,
because it makes you understand different aspects. Where if I would have just came out and did one thing, I would only know that life.
Yeah, right.
So,
and you might still be searching for it too, where like you had those experiences.
Absolutely.
And trying to figure it out still. Where, like, dude, those jobs when you're hopping around, you're just trying to find things, and it used to look bad on a resume. Like now, if I look at somebody and they've tried some things, I'm like, that person kind of still trying to figure out what they want to do. Maybe I can help guide them there, right? So,
and the main thing that really led to me being E.W. Smith being my career, what I want to do for the rest of my life is, I started waking up and going to work happy, and I didn't want, like, oh man, I got to go to work. I'm going to work. I'm working with great people, not only coworkers but also customers, and you're helping people out, and it feels good.
Yeah.
So I'm there 7 years. I thought I just started a few weeks ago.
Right.
It's crazy how time flies when you're having fun, and and it's a fun job, and it's a fun place to be, and I love it.
Yeah.
And I love the rapport with the people, and continue to keep building that business over the next 25 to 30 years that I plan on working before retirement.
And then what's retirement going to look like? You got some plans?
Hopefully a lot of golf, a lot of family time.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'm a lot better at golf by that time.
We'll work on that for you.
Yeah, I've been waiting for you to give me some lessons. So I'm too busy now running a show. Doesn't have time for golf lessons. So,
that's winter. Maybe the show will die off come summertime.
There you go. And then we both got our families now. Building up our families. So
yeah. No, it's been cool to watch you and your family grow, and I've known you since I was 4 or 5 years old, and it's cool that we still get to chat, and we need to hang out more. We definitely need to make an opportunity to do that more.
I knew there was a lot of awkwardness between us after I beat you out for the job and everything. So.
Yeah, we need to break the ice there for sure. But anything next coming from E.W. Smith that we should be aware about, or just going to continue to do the right thing for a long period of time like they've been doing?
Yeah, just just steering into it. We've had back in July of 2020, the Michigan auto reform came into place, so that was something new to the state, right? So we took that head on, weathered the storm, but then boom, also the pandemic hit. So we had our offices closed for a while to the public. We were doing things over the phone via email, running out to you in the parking lot, keeping a safe distance when nobody knew what was going on. The world was upside down, but we kept our doors open in a sense. We were open, but the doors weren't physically open.
Yeah.
But just weathering the storm. I mean, that just speaks to 106 years of business.
Right.
I mean, you got to be doing something right.
Yeah.
So I mean, nothing new coming down right now in the States. We are facing weird times with inflation. One thing I can point out right now that is happening, and it's not just us; it's everybody in the state, if not the country. inflation. So the one thing you're seeing is the homeowners' prices and the replacement costs going up, and the main reason is because of how they're calculating the
cost of repair,
the cost of repairs, the cost of materials, the cost of labor, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that is driving the prices up a little bit with something like that.
Yeah.
And so that's something we're dealing with right now. But I mean, again, just as inflation goes, everything goes. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, that's a problem we're running into.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully that tapers off in a couple of years, but you never know. You never
Yeah.
see inflation really go down, it seems like.
Yeah,
But,
especially last year.
Seriously. But that's the one thing we're steering into right now. That's one of the things we're dealing with. It's you just got to get through it.
Yeah,
Everybody
yeah.
does. I mean, you guys are having your thing with the rates, and that's just life right now. So
Right. Yeah.
we're
Just deal with
steering
it
through
and
that, but
just keep doing a good thing for as
Absolutely.
long as you can and figure it out. I just thought of this in my head. I was like, speak to just one good thing that you've seen result in somebody being appropriately insured and it benefiting them where, if they weren't properly insured. Like, I'm sure you got some good stories and I'm sure you have negative.
Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit of a good story that you have. You don't need to mention the client's name.
Yeah. So the one thing, especially being in the downriver area, one thing I think a huge coverage is water backup sewage. Those sewer backs up in your basement. So at least one person on the show has been affected by that, or at least knows somebody who's been affected by that at some point, especially with the 2014 storms. There's a couple days that live in infamy
I was in claims
about some of those. So some people don't even know they have it because they never had it. But that's a coverage that I preach all the time. Even some of these packages just included, but it's always something that you want to have on there. So I've had some people call in all distraught, like, "Oh my gosh, my water backed up. I lost all this stuff," and I'm like, "Man, you have $10,000 in water backup coverage." So thankful, so happy. Changed her day, changed her mood right away, and that just speaks to making sure the coverage is there first. Because one thing I always preach, I always say 1A for me is coverage, 1B is price. And I want to make sure you're properly covered first. We'll talk about it, and then if you want to save a few bucks, we can go down the line and talk about things you can take off here, there, and there. But some people will just throw a quote at you. Here's the money. You're like, okay, that's $10 lower than what Mickey's offering me a month, so I'm going to take that. And then, of course, the negative happens. Water backing up. They call to make that claim. Sorry, you don't have that coverage.
Right.
But so that's the one thing I always tell people. 1A is coverage, 1B is price. Because I understand price is very important.
Right. Yeah.
Everyone's got to, we want to have fair prices.
At times, that's all people are looking for in that job, which can probably be tough for you.
Absolutely, because as long as they understand, what they're getting themselves into. At the end of the day, it's your coverage, your money.
Right.
All I can do is warn you, and suggest what I suggest, and
maybe get it in writing to protect.
Yeah, always, but always, So. That's one thing. I mean, then you've had the negative things where people are trying to save a few bucks, so they take off a coverage even though you recommend against it, and then it happens.
Something happens,
and unfortunately, it does happen.
No,
insurance is there when you need it. I know a lot of people don't like it because you pay so much money and you never make a claim in X amount of years, but it's really there for the big stuff. A couple of nickel and dime things. It's always tough, You don't want to affect your rates, so maybe you pay something smaller out of pocket. But if you got a pipe burst or something, and you got to get a new kitchen for $50,000, you're going to make make up that money, making that claim. So that's one of the tough parts of the gig is.
You guys have that? What's that? The coverage back, the service coverage,
service line coverage.
Yeah. Speak to that. I know that was coming into the business when I got out of it, but it seemed like a pretty inexpensive coverage to protect a lot of people here locally.
Absolutely. So with an older infrastructure like the downriver areas, the service line, so leading to the sewer line to the city line, if that were to crack or break and flood your yard and everything, that's $8,000, $10,000, $12,000 job alone right there. And no insurance company ever offered that until it might be like 3, 4, 5 years ago now. Then a couple of our companies started rolling out, and now you're seeing more companies pick it up, and it is very cheap. And it's a good thing to have, especially with the older infrastructure. I remember it happened in my dad's house when we were kids, and what a mess it was. So it's nice to have that on there. Kind of already had a ton since they've rolled it out, which has been great because they know that it's a good coverage, and luckily they were with the companies that
and the companies are paying for
it. So it's great to have because that's an expensive job because they're digging up your entire backyard to get to this pipe and then tie it back into the city line, tie it back into your house. And it's just nothing but a mess. And it's big time money. So having that when there was never even a coverage ever offered. So like my dad didn't get coverage for that because, it was 20 years ago. So he was on his own. So that's a huge coverage that even some of these some of these companies we work with have packages on their, homeowners and stuff, and some of them just included in there.
Right.
So that's a good thing to have. And especially too, if it's only $30-$40 a year in the grand scheme of things, that's nothing for that coverage.
Yeah.
If you break it down monthly, what's that? $3 a month.
Right.
Worth it.
Yeah. And if you ever have to deal with it, your break even well ahead of time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So yeah, no, man, I'm thankful for EW Smith to be in the community. You guys do a great job. I interviewed there. Unfortunately, you got the job over me, but I'm going to say fortunately because we're both doing okay.
Doing okay.
So I couldn't be happier for you guys over there, and you guys continue to represent the community. We come across each other all the time. So keep doing your thing, man, and can't wait to see what you do the next 20 years until we're playing golf, 30 years from now.
You too, man. You're killing it here, and I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, no problem, man. Keep it up.
All right.